On the bench today, we've got FMS's brand new FCX10 Defender. This is part of the Camel Trophy lineup that they just released on the FCX10 platform. This is available in 3 different models: the Discovery, the Range Rover, and the Defender. FMS continues to fine-tune the FCX10 platform, and this is, in my opinion, their best offering yet, certainly from a scale realism perspective. Now, I've had this for a little while. I've driven it a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. But before we get into the run footage, let's do a quick overview of the key features, the highlights, some of the specs. I'll go over what comes in the box and everything, and then we'll get to the run footage. So let's start with what comes in the box here. So it comes with a lot of optional accessories. You've got the jerry cans that go in the rack on the back. We got a shovel. There's a disassembled pickaxe. This does not go together. It looks like it does, but it does not. It's just made to go on the rack. We've got an axe in the back. It comes with a whole pile of zip ties, so you can zip tie these accessories onto the rack as you see fit. Comes with this Camel Trophy clip-on kind of badging here. There was one that goes on the rear as well, but I broke that trying to put it on. Comes with functional limb risers attached to these little metal eyelet hooks here that you screw into the rack and the bumper. They look great and they are functional. Ours disappeared on the trail, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to get another set of those because I like how they look. We get some additional goodies here. We get a hat for our driver who's already in the interior. We get some license plates. We get some double-sided tape. There is a axe blade holder that you can put on the rack as well. We get your basic tools to go in here too. The truck comes with this FMS MG6 radio. We've seen this radio before in other FCX10 models. We've got 6 channels available on the radio. Not all of those are programmed. I'll get to that in a minute. When we get into the electronics on it, you can adjust your drag brake on the fly. You've got your basic trim, dual rate adjustment here. You can operate the lights. You've got multifunctional light system here on channel 5. And there is some additional functionality with channel 4, which I will show you later as well. Nice radio here. It's got a good feel in the hand. Some extra functionality if you do want to expand on the electronics here as well. Now let's look at the truck itself. Now I opted for the D110 model because I really like the beefy, muscular look of the Defender 110. I wish we got it in the D90. I was so hoping that we got the shorter wheelbase 2-door D90, but this one is still cool. So exterior wise, I think FMS has done a great job with the scale detail on this. We've got this highly detailed Lexan body, not a hard body on here. We've got a Lexan body complemented by a lot of molded details. Snorkel, hood vents, door hinges, door handles, folding mirrors. We've got this nice cargo rack here up top. This is a heavy duty plastic cargo rack, and it's got this kind of wooden shelf on the top here that gives it a great level of scale realism too. Functioning lights, so we've got functioning headlights, we've got indicators, and we've also got lights up here in the light bar. In the back, we've got functioning tail lights. There's a spotlight up here on the top. This is not functional. We've got a ladder going up to your rack, and we've got a spare tire cover. Plastic bumpers front and rear. There is the receiver hitch in the back. If you do want to hook up a trailer to it, you can. Truck sits on these very scale looking plastic wheels wrapped in these unbranded tires. These are FMS Super Marsher. Yes, Super Marsher tires. Very reminiscent of a Traxxas Canyon Trail tire. They've also got a really nice compound. I was really impressed with how the tires performed when I was driving this. They've got a nice soft feel, a little bit of roll in here. So you'd experience quite a bit of lean and a lot of flex in the tires, but they did grip very well. Inside the body, we do have a full interior. We've got a cargo shelf in the back. We've got stickered over seats in the rear with the matching yellowish accents here. In the front, we've got some additional detail. I mentioned the driver, he's already in there. We've got gear shifters, steering wheel. We've got some stickers on the gauge clusters as well. So from an exterior standpoint, I think they did excellent with these models. This isn't a vehicle that you see on the road every day, but I did look up some pictures, and from what I can tell, it still seems a little bit squished. You know, it's kind of taller, more muscular. It feels a little bit more compact in the rear compared to the real Camel Trophy, but they did get very close with their scale details. I think the D110 they've done the best with from what I've seen out of this FCX10 Camel Trophy lineup, but it could be because I'm biased for this model also. To remove the body, we've got similar latching mechanisms to the previous FCX10s, like the LC80. You could, these clips you turn, pops the body off like that, and then you can just pull it off. I find these are okay from a functionality standpoint. One thing I've found, if you get dirt and mud and things in this mechanism, they tend to seize up. So just be mindful of that. You want to be cleaning these if you do get a bunch of dirt and stuff in them. With the body off, I love that they do these magnet connections here so that there's no wires. You can take the body completely off, nice and clean. If you do have the limb risers on, you will have to detach the limb risers to remove the body completely. With the body off, let's take a look at this chassis. So we've got the same FMS FCX10 steel C-channel frame. This is a nice setup here. It's got a nice rigid platform, good clean layout. We've got molded inner fender liners here to help keep the interior of this thing clean, also give it some scale look. We've got composite shock towers and cross bracing here, battery trays right in the middle. That butts right up against the FMS 2-in-1 receiver and ESC combo here. Running the XT60 connector, you can run up to 3S on this. Now there are some additional channels available on this because this doesn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles installed from the factory, which I personally like. So the only thing that you've got for functionality in here, you've got servo operated 2-speed transmission, which is nice and give you that slow crawl ability, but then it does have some decent wheel speed, kick it up into second gear, which is all operated with the radio. I found wheel speed on this to be very slow on 2S. So if you're looking for any type of wheel speed on this in an open trail setting, would highly recommend the 3S. That 32 turn brushed motor seems to do just fine on the 3S, which is what I ran it on primarily. For suspension action on this, so we've got nice metal bodied adjustable coilover shocks at all 4 corners. We've got a dual spring mechanism on here. I can't tell if those are dual rate springs. I'm not exactly sure, but nonetheless, we've got 2 springs in there. The action on this felt really nice. It would lean quite a bit, as you'll see in the driving footage, but it still remained pretty planted. I drove it hard on a variety of different conditions. I've got no shock leakage at all at this point. If we look at the underside of this thing, so we've got a 4-link suspension setup front and rear with a servo on axle design up front. We've got metal upper and lower links here. Plastic rod ends with metal pivot hardware, slider style drive shafts going out to the straight axles. Now I'm really loving the straight axles here. Some of the FCX10s come with the portal configuration. FMS has gone with the fully locked out straight axles, which I prefer myself from a scale realism perspective, and to keep that center of gravity down low, which is really important with something that has so much weight up high. I like the axles on here. We've got CV axle shafts. I wish we'd gone with a U-joint here just for extra strength and a little better performance at high steering. Let me show you guys the light functionality too. I also want to try something that I just read online about this thing. Body on here. All right, so the light functions, just on and off. You don't get any additional functionality beyond that. You've got your turn signals there. We've got marker lights on the side as well. Same thing in the rear, brake lights, turn signals. Now, I'm not a fan of turn signals, and I gather a lot of you are not either. So what I've heard, I have not tried this, if you turn the steering wheel all the way, I think it's to the left, and you hit channel 4, so it says it turns the turn signals off. That wasn't right. How about if we go right? Still on. But if any of you have successfully turned the turn signals off, comment down below, because I know a lot of people are going to be looking to do that. You can always unplug the wire from the receiver as well. Well, the 2-speed transmission works pretty well. There's high gear right there. It does seem to be limited in reverse out of the box as well, which I personally like. There's slow speed. There's that slow crawl right there. This is on 3S, so you can slow it down very, very slow. It's also very quiet. The ESC, the powertrain is very quiet, which led to a super tranquil, like meditative driving experience, which you'll see shortly out on the trails. Cool, I think that's it for key features and stuff. Let's get into the good stuff and go run this so you guys can see it in action, and then we'll come back to the bench and wrap this up. Out with the D110, brand new from FMS. Looks fantastic. The scale details on this thing are excellent. FMS always does a great job with their scale realism. This thing, no exception. I love it. The interior, all of the scale details that they put into it on the exterior and the accessories. The way that the thing undulates around, so realistic looking. The driving experience is so neat because it literally feels and looks like a real vehicle. I'm at one of my favorite rock crawling spots. This is not going to be a rock crawler, that's for sure. You know, the tires are not oversized. And again, with the straight axles, you're not going to have the clearance to get over gnarly obstacles. And with that super heavy, top heavy body, not going to be a rock crawler by any means. We'll try a little bit of rocks just for fun, but that's not my goal here today. I brought it out here and running it on 2S initially. It is very slow. That's wide open in low gear on 2S. If I click it up into high gear, it's a little better. You know, that gets ahead of me slightly faster than walking pace there. I am going to go back to the old wagon and grab a 3S before we hit the trail though. Now on 3S. That's better. That's 3S in low gear. Still get nice controlled slow crawl there. Decent wheel speed. Let's try high gear. Yeah, there's the fun factor right there. So 3S seems to be the ticket. That's what I'm going to be running for the rest of this test. Nice. We do have the drag brake and stuff on the radio. If I want to adjust that, I don't know if I'll need to or not. We'll find some light rocks just to play with. I found on the bench the tire compound, and the tires feel nice and squishy. So I bet they would grip pretty nice on the rocks. I'm scraping, banging all over the place here. It's very quiet. Drivetrain and electronics make very, very little noise. All I hear is the sound of the lugs of the tires going over the rocks and the body moving around, clanging and banging. High centered right here. Oh, I save it. It's a very like therapeutic feeling. So peaceful driving this thing. Yeah, there's where the ground clearance from the portals really helps, but I don't have it to get up over this rock section. I got enough. I don't know about the side hill when I get on this rock. This is going to be, whoa, she's leaning hard. Let me get down to catch it. Let's see. The old toaster hanging on for dear life with a spatula there. Yeah, I'm not going to push it hard on the rocks over there. It gets more and more gnarly as we go along. Not much for scale and trail in that regard over there. Why I really came here with this truck is because it's also got a great network of trails to go through. So this is going to be a great place to see this thing in action. This is where it's really going to shine. This will be a scale trail truck. Imagine you had a couple of these with your buddies, how real it would look going through the trails here. I wish Axel was out here with me with one of the other FCX10s. It would be super fun to see them out here together. Got lots and lots of trails to choose from. I'm going to go right up here. There's some gnarly sections. We're going to go through kind of the cliffs above the crawler space. This thing's going to look great, and it'll also test it in a variety of different conditions. Look at this wooded section here. We're going to jump on the cliff trail up here. And there we go. See, overlooking the valley. This is the trail we're going to hit down here. The tall height of this might give us some challenges here, both from rolling over, but also fitting under some of the obstacles. So we'll see how we get in some of these sections, but boy, does it look cool. I'm gonna go up this washout section here. This is where, yeah, it's gonna be tight. I'm gonna hug the edge here, not too much. Look at the control out of this ESC. Able to navigate that still on 3S here. Oh boy, man, she's tall. My gas can's scraping there. Oh, this is my rack. This section right here, I don't know if I'm going to make it through. Maybe. Oh, just barely getting through there. Oh man. I'm going to say it 60 times in this video, but how cool does this thing look out here? Such great scale realism with this thing. Oh, I'm leaning so hard. I am noticing that already though, is that even though it leans wicked, it still stays planted more so than I would think. I'm ready to catch it at any moment, but it's surprised me. Nice job through there. I'll turn in there. Cool. Yeah, I'm flirting with disaster here again. Leaning hard. Those tires are holding on. Up we go. That was one of the more risky sections there. We get into some challenging stuff here, but the sheer drop-offs and cliffs are stuff we're largely done. Just put it up on this upper section because I'm going to try coming down on the top ledge. One thing I'm noticing, if I can replicate it here, I get high centered a lot, able to find a better line through there, but I seem to get stuck on breakovers quite a bit. Oh gosh, I was ready to capture that thing. Holy moly. Man, it is, again, surprising me all the time with how planted it really is. But yes, I am getting hung up on the belly. With the tire size and everything, it seems to be just right to hang that thing up. I'm not going to be able to fit through that tunnel, I don't think. I took the bypass. There's a tunnel back there, but this thing's too tall for that. It wouldn't make it through. I do want to try this top section because we're going to get into some challenging lines on this trail now. Oh, I don't know if that translates on camera, but she's leaning so hard. Nice through there. It's a tricky loose section here. I was just going to say I was really impressed with how the tires are doing, but now I seem to be stuck here. There we go, throttle out. I am impressed with the tires though, overall. They are gripping really much better than I expected out here. They seem to grip pretty well on the rocks and they hold pretty well on the trail. Another big washout section. I had to carry it over, so we weren't going to do that one. Almost at the end of this trail here. And I'm going to take the woods back. This has been a really fun driving experience. I really like it. It's so therapeutic, you know, like it's so quiet. The thing looks so real. It's a beautiful day out here, nice and warm. I got the place to myself, so it's like total meditation mode with this truck out here today. Nice, good run. I think I'll probably have to carry it the rest of the way because it's all sandy and washed out. That was fun. Here we are at the top of the world. We had to carry it some sections, but overall it did really good on that trail. Super fun driving experience. Very meditative, driving a scale rig like this on that type of terrain. A lot of fun. All right, wrapping up now. I'm gonna head back to base camp there to get my wagon and head back to the Jeep. I had a lot of fun with this truck. This is much more of a scale realistic experience, and in that regard it does really well. The FCX10 platform, really well constructed. It's tough, it's reliable, looks great. Scale details are 10 out of 10 with this truck. Not going to be a hardcore rock crawler by any means. As you see, it's top heavy, although it is more planted than I expected, but it is top heavy. You do get ground clearance issues. I got hung up on the belly a lot, but a very enjoyable driving experience, especially if you like the more scale realistic aspect of the hobby. FMS did a really good job with the truck in that regard. So this was a lot of fun for me. I don't usually do a lot of scale and trail driving, so this was refreshing to have something totally different. I think I just lost my limb riser there. I did. I'll go back and find it. But it was refreshing to do something different, very meditative, driving through the trail, watching this thing move around, do its thing. I like it. Be interesting to see what the other models look like. I'd like to see some of the other ones in person. It'd be fun to get a whole bunch of them together to go driving around with. Okay, here we go. Got it back on there. But fun stuff. Cool truck here by FMS. Another great addition to the FCX10 platform. I'm gonna head back to the Jeep. I'll wrap this up back at the bench. I'll see you there in a minute. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the FMS FCX10 Defender here. I really like this thing. I had a ton of fun out on the trails, if you couldn't tell. FMS has done a great job with the FCX platform, and this Camel Trophy lineup is going to be a great appeal to folks who want a more scale experience with that platform. This Defender is not going to replace your TRX4, does not have the performance like that model does. So if you want a more hardcore rock crawler version of the Defender, that's where you're going to want to go. But FMS has done a fantastic job with the scale details on this truck. All three of these Camel Trophy trucks, I think they've done an excellent job with. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this FCX10 Camel Trophy lineup? These are available now. Price on this is $389.99. I'll put a link in the description down below and where you can pick one of these up for yourself. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you in the next video.